Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television. A reminder of our top stories. Police rearrest alleged kidnap kingpin Hamisu Bala alias Wadume in Kano after he went into hiding following his alleged rescue by soldiers in Taraba State 2 weeks ago. Youths in the Ekpe area of Lagos foil attempt by operatives of the EFCC to search the residence of a former governor of the state, Akiwumi Ambode. Supreme Court strikes out 2 appeals by PDP and its presidential candidate Alhaji Atiku Abubakar seeking access to INEC server and against a ruling by the Election Tribunal. President Buhari is set to inaugurate new federal cabinet tomorrow as he challenges the incoming ministers on teamwork at the close of a 2-day retreat for them in Abuja. And Italy orders the seizure of migrant ship Open Arms and the evacuation of about 100 migrants on board to the island of Lampedusa. Information on our top stories and others, please visit our website, channelstv.com. YouTube.com/channelsweb has videos of our shows. We have stories that you've been sending into our Eyewitness platform. Let's look at some of them, shall we? Here come images that you sent in. We begin with this one. Is a set of images from Anambra State. According to Eyewitness, these people are from Achinone, Agbudu, Ugboji, Enugu, Umuonya, Umomako, and Ezira communities. He says they're protesting the devastation of their communities by gully erosion. These youths are raising concern over what will become of their communities, except something is done urgently. They want the state government to come to their aid. Next is this image from Umuahia, the Abia State capital. It's what the Umuahia-Ikotopene Federal Road looks like. That's according to a witness who's lamenting the pain motorists go through plying this road. He's asking the federal government to make fixing this a priority. Back here in Lagos is this picture from Ikfako Bagada. It shows these men whom Eyewitness describes as a thorn in the flesh of commercial motorcyclists. It says their primary targets are private commercial motorcyclists. He accuses the youths of harassing the cyclists and their passengers and wants the police and other security agencies to stop them. Thanks for sending in those pictures and please keep them coming. The president has asked his ministers designate to be prepared to work together as a team to meet up the basic needs of the people and achieve the set goals of the current government. President Muhammadu Buhari mentioned this at the closing of the 2-day presidential retreat for ministers designate in the nation's capital, Abuja. The ministers designate will be assigned their portfolios tomorrow after their swearing in at the inaugural Federal Executive Council meeting. Our correspondent, Ibrahim Adra, reports.
Day 2 of the retreat began early with President Buhari making his entrance at about 10:30. Like the previous day, not everyone is allowed to stay. While the meeting lasted, the program shows 7 major items are up for discussion on day 2. Among them, budget preparation processes, procurement, partnerships, and expectations over the next 4 years.
The outcomes from this 2-day session will be documented.
After over 12 hours of deliberations in 2 days, the government's chief scribe speaks.
As public servants, we are not only expected to deliver results that improve the lives of our fellow citizens and transform the country, but also to reflect in our example what our nation stands for: hard work, honor, integrity, ingenuity, and the relentless belief that in Nigeria all things are possible.
They have been well articulated.
In his closing charge to the ministers designate, President Buhari says the retreat may have ended, but the real work begins.
Whilst we have obvious successes to celebrate, the challenges ahead are significant, as you would have observed in detail over these 2 days. Nevertheless, from the quality of the deliberations, it is clear that solutions to our problems are well researched and have been well articulated.
He is clear on the kind of Nigeria he hopes for.
Ladies and gentlemen, majority of our people are poor and are anxiously hoping for a better life. A Nigeria in which they do not have to worry about what they will eat, where they will live, or if they can afford to pay for their children's education or health care. Our responsibility as leaders of this great country is to meet these basic needs for our people.
Participants believe the retreat was a great idea.
I've gotten some new ideas. I've also juxtaposed some of the new things I got today with the experiences I had in my first missionary journey.
The whole idea was to have 2 days of serious reflection, this time not of making promises, but reviewing how to deliver in each of those promises.
It's very illuminating and very educative, and at the same time, it really shows the focus that, yes, indeed, we all understand the problems of Nigeria.
There is palpable enthusiasm among participants at this retreat that they have substantially thrashed those issues that may seem to stand in the way of effective service delivery and are poised, once sworn in, to deliver on the hopes and aspirations of the next level agenda of the Buhari administration. From the banquet hall of the State House in Abuja, Ibrahim Adra reporting for Channels Television News.
Residents of Jigawa and Gombe states are counting their losses following the flash floods that ravaged their communities, killing at least 7 people, destroying property and displacing several others. In Jigawa State, 6 persons have been confirmed dead, with over 600 others displaced, some of whom are taking refuge in schools. The Executive Secretary of the State Emergency Management Agency, Mr. Sani Yusuf, who spoke to Channels Television, said 4 local government areas were affected. The State Deputy Governor, Alhaji Umar Namadi, visited some of the villages and promised to provide relief materials to the victims. The devastation was also enormous in Gombe State, where 1 life was lost, while property and farmlands destroyed. The State Governor, Inuwa Yahya, who has also visited the affected areas, empathized with the victims and directed the State Emergency Management Agency to provide palliative measures. I'll kick it off now to Ibrahim Adra in Abuja for more on the news at 10. Hi, Ibrahim.
Hello, Marachi. We're still staying with the unfortunate incidences of flooding. The residents of Dute Sagbai, a suburb in Buhari Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory, have been cut off from access roads following the collapse of 2 bridges after a heavy downpour on Monday, August the 19th. Although there were no casualties during the incident, the chairman of the community says the road and bridge projects in the area are done by the residents, as calls for help from the government have allegedly gone unanswered for almost 15 years. Our correspondent Kela Megwa has more.
Between 2002 and 2012, the Buhari Area Council increased in size by 38.5%. This is because new settlements keep springing up, especially along the Duse axis, towards the Usuma Dam. Buhari Area Council is just one of the 6 area councils in the nation's capital. Following massive migration of people from all over the country into Abuja, Buhari has become a home to a lot of people. And that has caused a bit of overpopulation in this area. That overpopulation comes with its challenges. A lot of these buildings are sold by indigents of the Federal Capital Territory. And in many cases, the proper processes are not followed to ensure waterways are not built on, or that the terrain is safe enough to construct houses. There's also the issue of poor infrastructure development in the suburbs of the nation's capital, as seen by the nature of this road into Duse Sagbai. As we approach the collapsed bridge, it's obvious the sheer nature of the devastation and the impact it must have on the residents.
Yesterday morning, everybody just came out. We got that the bridge has collapsed. And the community have been trying to do the road since government are not ready to do it.
The children cannot pass. Even with the teacher, we cannot pass. Those that are living there, they cannot come out. And those that have something doing there, they cannot go in.
The collapse took just a few hours. Luckily, it occurred overnight, and no casualties were recorded. This rickety bridge right behind us here, was constructed by the residents when the collapse happened just yesterday. Now, the bridge itself, no one is quite sure how old this bridge is. Some say 7 years, some say 15 years old. However, we know that the residents have been contributing 2,000 naira each for its maintenance. And that's not all. This isn't the worst of the situation. The chief of the community says it's taking us to a worse area. This second collapsed bridge in the same community has again cut off residents from access roads. And they put a few sticks and stones together to make their way across the stream on foot. According to the Federal Capital Territory Administration, repairs of these collapsed bridges is the responsibility of the Buari Area Council.
And you see, with the rain, there's not much you can do, but we have to find out what can be done immediately. The sizing of the culvert is not adequate. We are not having any project within this area, but we will not leave them alone. We have to find out what we can do.
This Sabagi is just about 15 minutes from the city center in the nation's capital. They say they have been calling on the government for years, for 15 years even, to do something about the bridges in this area, the access routes to their houses in this area. And they said nothing had been done about it. So the people who live here decided to take things into their own hands. The problem with that, however, is that a lot of the work done may not have been done properly. Hence, the tragedy that we have experienced between yesterday and today. They're calling on the government, as they always have, to do something to alleviate their suffering, rebuild the bridges, and ensure that they can go to work and come back home safely. Kayla Megwa, Channels Television News.
Thanks indeed, Kayla. Now let's turn attention to politics. The Kogi State House of Assembly has directed the State Chief Judge, Justice Nasir Ajana, to set up a 7-man committee to proceed with the Deputy Governor's impeachment. The directive was raised as a motion by the Majority Leader of the House, Abdullahi Bello, representing Jakarta, who quoted Section 188, subsection 4 of the 1999 Constitution as amended to buttress his point. Mr. Bello said the failure of the Deputy Governor, Elder Simon Achuba, to respond to allegations of gross misconduct from the Assembly within the 14 days stipulated by law warrants no further debate, but for the next step to be taken. 19 out of the 25 members of the State House of Assembly are in support of the motion. Now, meanwhile, the Deputy Governor of Kogi State, Mr. Simon Achuba, is not taking the action of the State Assembly lightly, as he has moved to fight his battle in court. Chief Achuba has filed an application challenging the impeachment notice served on him by the State House of Assembly before the State High Court in Lokoja. According to the suit, Mr. Achuba said he filed the suit on the grounds that he was served an impeachment notice late and that the process is also marred by irregularities. And finally, from the nation's capital, the National Human Rights Commission, that is NHRC, wants the National Assembly to amend the relevant laws to tackle discrimination against ex-convicts in Nigeria. The call comes in the wake of signing of the new Nigerian Correctional Service Bill into law by the President. The NHRC expresses worry that it is difficult for ex-convicts to get jobs after paying for their crimes and undergoing rehabilitation. The Executive Secretary of the Commission, Anthony Ojukwu, who made the statement, also believes that proper investigation should be carried out before arrests are made to avoid infringing on the rights of Nigerians. He was speaking after a visit to the Federal Capital Territory Correctional Service. And it's time for a break now, but when we return, diaspora remittances into Nigeria are expected to hit $25.5 billion by the end of the year. I'll be coming to you in our business news segment. Do join us again.